Paris, you didn't have to get dressed up for me.
We got a special guest tonight from what's the guy's name? Howie. What's his name? Howie Rose.
Howie taking my spot.
I got the Ami going.
Hurts. What's with that social distance you got going on over there, man?
Yeah, look at that.
Someone give me the bathroom.
Does that mean that not enough guys got the message?
You have 13 on.
There's a whole bunch of people on it,
Okay, fine.
I actually listened to almost half the first half.
Oh, look, Abba's here. Look at that cute Rechaim we got going on. Abba,
I did almost half the first half. Am I right?
Proud of you. I'm proud of you.
You know what? A little bit.
Whatever. It's Sunday. I met your father-in-law.
He called me. He told me.
Mission accomplished. He don't look so serious.
No. I told him he has a sense of humor. He's good.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
He's a Yeki, in case anybody doesn't know. That's what we're.
Very much so. Very much so.
How do you always manage to find an empty room, you know?
Baruch Hashem, Lakewood is a very big town. Baruch Hashem. So
A lot of people there too.
yeah.
One second, Landau. We made the share early, and you're here.
You know what? I gotta roll with the punches.
Oh.
Does that mean we can punch you? What does that mean?
Yes, that means yes.
What's with smoking at a chuppah?
I have no idea why you can't smoke by a chuppah. Don't worry, I'm getting enough flack that how come I didn't stop after the first sentence, which is that you're not allowed to smoke.
Yeah.
Right?
I was once an aide and I smoked under the chuppah. Is that allowed?
Those poor people have to get remarried anyways.
I know. Me and Mezzi smoked vape under the chuppah.
That's wonderful.
So totally wrong. Okay.
Do their kids smoke?
That's tomorrow's tweet. I haven't smoked in many years. But if I was vaping in public, I'd be embarrassed to do that in public in front of other people. Vaping, it's much less in your house, but vaping in front of Barabim and
Nobody saw you. Nobody saw it behind. They just saw it was smoke from the flowers. They thought it was an effect. They paid for smoke.
It's a busha to vape. Smoke or don't smoke. Vape.
It was during my vaping stage, okay?
Yeah.
They thought the smoke was coming from the candles. The candles.
I was like, Naftali, Reb Aaron still thinks that you have a busha problem. But that's a different
Well, way past that.
Clearly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go. Dalet Amud Aleph. Yeah, I mean, we have to do the last two words on Gimel Amud Beis. Yeah. V'amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. There's a lot of Tosfos. I'm gonna. Where's Naftali line? Is he gonna get scared? There's a lot of Tosfos to do in tonight's stuff. A lot of very Yesodis.
Right here. I'm listening.
All right, a lot of Tosfos. Okay, so V'amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. Lud. So we had said again, we go with the opinions that say that a walled city has to be. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So we go with the shittas that say that Lud, that walled cities have to go from Yehoshua ben Nun. So Lud, how do you pronounce it? Well, checking the article. V'ainai v'gay, right? Lud, Ainai and Gay Charoshim. I'm sorry. Mukavas Chaimim Yimois Yehoshua ben Nun. How but they were walled from Yehoshua ben Nun? V'ani Yehoshua ben Ani. Did Yehoshua really build them? Alphael ben Ani. Alphael was the one that built it. Alphael, Aver, Umisham, Vishamar, Hubana es Ainai Veslud, Hubanaseh. So he built all these cities. So then it's not Yehoshua that built it, and he built Ainai and Lud was built by somebody by the name of Afel, right? So how could it be that they were from Yehoshua ben Nun? So the one says V'letamech Asa ben Ani, right? And according to you, are you saying that Asa built it? Even Asa is Arei B'tzuras Asher Yehuda, that he built Arei B'tzuras to Yehuda? Now we'll get back to this in a minute. It's a fascinating thing with this pasuk, and that's why it's in parentheses. Amar Rebbe Lazar, Hani Mukavas Chami Mos Yehoshua ben Nun. So the teretz is no. So what happened was that they were walled in the days of Yehoshua ben Nun. And Habachara b'mei Pilegesh Begiva. In the days of Pilegesh Begiva, which we had at the end of Tainus, that remember when the Sheva ben Yamin killed the Pilegesh Begiva, so they were basically thrown out of Klal Yisrael, right? And that was one of the 6 things that we made a simcha on Tuba of, was that they were allowed back in to marry into Klal Yisrael. So whatever it is, so after Pilegesh Begiva was destroyed, also Alfel ben Nani, and Alfel came and he rebuilt it. Right, so Hadar Info, and then it fell, and then also Asa Shpatzinu, when Asa came and he fixed it. Yeah, so take a nami. It says build up these cities. It's mashma that they were built from the beginning. They were cities from before they fell down. Shmamina. So basically, there were three steps. It was walled from Yehoshua ben Nun, then it fell down, and Afel built it, and then Asa rebuilt it. Now, you see that pasuk, it says, Yehuda. If you look into the Rashi, right across, Rashi says, that pasuk doesn't exist. It's not so common where you get a Gemara quotes a pasuk, and the pasuk doesn't exist. Right? What, on that one? Maybe you got a lot of songs in the Daf that don't fit in. Yeah. So anyways, so Rashi says it doesn't exist. So Rashi finds episode pasuk that sounds similar to it. So it must be a printing mistake, which is why it's in the parentheses. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's the first thing from Yehoshua ben Levi. This is all. These every member from the Gemara here is from Yehoshua ben Levi. What?
Is the Gemara asking because they know that these places laying on Tezvav? That's where the kasha is.
Mastama, yeah, right. Or maybe they didn't lay on. Maybe the Gemara is asking they didn't lay on Tezvav, and the Gemara wants to know why they're not laying on Tezvav. Could that be? No. I mean, the Gemara's premise is coming from that also that these cities, the walls looked good. They looked too new to be from Yehoshua ben Nun. No.
Okay.
Anyways, okay. So now we start with the major cities. Noshim, not hard, easy, but a lot of information.
Yaakov, they were built. He restored them, like he patched them up to make them look
that's
new.
The third one was he patched them up. They fell. He built. They were rebuilt. Then they were patched by Asa. Yeah. Yes. And now we get into major sugas. Noshim chayavas b'mikra Megilah. Women are chayav in mikra Megilah. Sha'afhein hayu ba'isa nes. They are also included in the nes. Now, what does that mean? Yeah. So afein hayu ba'isa nes. So Rashi says that what does it mean they were in the nes? Because they were also scheduled to get killed, right? Taisus says not. Taisus the fourth Taisus down quotes the Rashbam that says no. The Iker nes was through the women, right? And from Esther, and then he also says Hanukkah was with Yehudis. And in Pesach was the Noshim Tzidkonius. Right? So there's three mitzvahs in the Torah that women are chayiv in because Afein hayu ba'isa nes. Chanukah, Purim, and well Pesach they're chayiv in anyways. But
no.
But what do you say?
No, it's not like choices. It's the 3 mitzvahs derabanan. It's three presuming mitzvahs derabanan.
Right. So there's 3, right, and these 3 Persume Nisas are because the women, so Taisus says they were mamish involved. Rashi learns no, it's because they were threatened, they were also threatened with death. Right?
This is the same Machlokes l'shitasam as we had in Pesachim. Rashi says the same thing there. They were included in the nes, and Taisus also argued there.
Correct. And then you have a different kashas, like why can't they be included in matzah? We have a limud that they're included in matzah, right? But what do you need it for? Why don't you say afin hoyevaisa nes on matzah? Okay, that's another kash from Taisus.
No, because you don't say it on the deraisa. The Torah didn't put it.
No, but you could say, why can't you say it on the deraisa? That's really what Taisus is really asking, right? If Taisus really gives your terrace that it's really deraisa, it's really only deraisa, not the rabbanon. Right before the lines get wider, Taisus.
I'm confused. They have a chiyuv matzah just the way
That's because they're in the issur of chametz. That's what
right.
happens.
Whoever's in the yitzhak of chametz is in the issur of matzah. Now, what are you saying?
Why does Gemara use the lashon sha'af hein according to Taisus for the Rashbam? I mean, af hein. They're the ikar mitzvah. It's not af hein. They're the maker mitzvah. You're off.
Right. So enochanami.
Akiva, very good.
Bro.
Abba's proud of you, Akiva. So
and I'm proud of him.
there you go. So anyway, I think it means afay, meaning because really it's a zman garama. So the af, I don't think the af is going on even women as opposed to men, in addition to men. I think it's going in that in this mitzvah, they're
in mitzvah abundant, we still have mitzvah is man grama. It's them. It's either they still have the mitzvah for them or they don't.
Right. Okay. So that's yeah. That I hear. But yeah, I you can't say exactly. It's not vodka. It's water. Okay. Okay. Anyway, and what did I want to say about the afhain? There's so there's something that's interesting that women are chayiv in lechem mishna. Why are women chayiv to use lechem mishna? Oh, Gershon likes that one. The Mishnah Berurah brings that the reason why women are chayiv in lechem mishna is because afhein hayu b'isa nes. Fascinating thing.
The nace of what? Of the mun?
The nace of the mun. Yes, women were in the nace of the mun, and therefore they're supposed to have lechem mishna when they wash on Shabbos. They need to have 2 loads of because of well, not 2 loads, whatever, 2 chalas, 2 rolls because of afein hayu b'isa nes. Then the next type, this also says interesting, is also Samaka, the Kasha I don't understand is we know that Chanukah, the women were Kabbalah on themselves because they were part of the fast, a half hour, they don't do malacha after the neiros, right? How come Purim, the women didn't accept anything on themselves? I don't know the answer to this question. How come by Purim they didn't accept? If anything, they were more involved in Purim than in Chanukah.
They were Kabbalah on themselves to drive.
What should they accept? What should they accept?
I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't do malacha a half hour after Megilah. I don't know.
To drive their husbands home when they're drunk.
There you go. Very good. There's maybe that's
that was Aaron's line already. Beautiful.
I don't know. Isn't it an interesting thing? Hanukkah they were makabel a half hour. Why not?
Hanukkah lighting takes 30 seconds.
Good.
So a half hour they were makabel not to do malacha.
Because a half hour is the shear. A half hour is the shear hadlaka.
No, besides, I'm saying the Kriyas Megillah takes a half hour.
He's saying the Megillah is taking a half hour. They're yaitza by that.
I said he yaitza the malacha. Ich weiß nicht. Okay, I don't know. I don't have an answer. If any comes and everybody knows an answer. Then of course you have the Taisus before that is a major yeshivish raid sugya, which is if that's the case, can a woman read the Megillah and be mitzi men? Right? Can a woman be mitzi men or other women in Megillah? Meaning, are they so chayiv in the mitzvah? We know we discussed this thing on the first daf on Beis in Megillah that a woman, somebody can only be mitzi somebody else if they're chayiv. So is a woman's chayiv so strong that she could be mitzi or not? Yeah. So the question is the chayiv of a woman to hear the Megillah?
She has the chayiv to hear it, not to read it. Right. Right.
So that's the question: is there a mitzvah for them to hear it or to read it? Nafkamina being that when they go to shul,
well,
they don't have to have in
mind. To read it? You have a mitzvah to read it, Aaron?
You read along. You're supposed to read along, no?
You don't have to read along.
It says if you have him kosher Megillah to read along.
Right. No, meaning no, but you have no, but Rabban, but you have to have in mind. You have to have in mind that the Balkaira is being mitzi. For men, you have to have in mind. See, but the women don't have to have that in mind. If they miss the Graisa announcement from the Gabba, right, that if the women and they just hear the Megillah, they're still yaitzi. So the question is the woman's chiyuv as strong as the man's chiyuv or not? Yeah. Okay, fine. And then one other thing. The Taisus says the next Taisus down discusses whether we're really supposed to say Ala Nisim. So Machlokes and Taisus whether you're supposed to put Ala Nisim into davening or not, right? Because a person's not supposed to ask. A person's not supposed to ask for bakashas in the last 3 brachas of Shemoneh Esrei. So how do you stick Ala Nisim in there? To which Taisus brings, what do you mean? But there's no bakasha there. It's not just the thanks. It's just the thanks. Because that's another tumult of whether you should.
So why did he ask it in the beginning, Taisus? Why would he ask the question?
I don't know. That's the Machlokes in the Taisus. Like one sheet, the second sheet, like what are you saying? It's not a bakasha. Not a bakasha, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand, but okay.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Okay. How about we had the time? We should do tonight really Taisus Daf Yomi. The Gemara we should leave because the Taisus are very geschmack. Okay. Anyways, so that's that with the notion. Yeah, that's with the notion. Fine. Weiter. V'amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi back in the Gemara. V'amar Yehoshua ben Levi. Purim shechali is b'Shabbos. On Purim that falls on a Shabbos. Shayilim v'darshan ben Yonah shayyim. You're supposed to ask and darshan Yonah, meaning we know, and we're going to see on Amud Beis, that we don't read the Megillah on Shabbos, as everybody knows. So Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi is saying, well, if you can't read it on Shabbos, so then at least talk about it on Shabbos, right? At least talk about it on Shabbos, yeah? Now, what is that going to gain? So is it? I guess it's pshat because you don't want to forget about the mitzvah of Megillah.
You're supposed to do that on the first day of Sukkot also?
Oh, so should you do that on the first day of Sukkot? And should you, anyone else?
Rosh Hashanah.
Or Rosh Hashanah, right? Rosh Hashanah. Should you do that? It doesn't seem
the mitzvah is the mitzvah is to remember. It's a zachar.
Right.
So that's what Megilah
Very
is.
good.
The other ones are mice.
You're supposed to take it. Very good. That's the teretz. Very good. Very sure. That's very good. Yeah. So that's because he's saying that Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot is a ma'aser to hold the lulav and esrog below a shofar. On Purim, it's just to have in mind the Megillah. So talking about the Megillah is enough. Now I wonder if this gets back to what we did, I think, last week in Tainus, where we said that if you read the karbanos, it's as if you makriv a karban. Right? So I'm wondering if this is where he's coming from. Like if you're going to sit and talk and learning about the Megillah, it's as if you're reading the Megillah. Okay, I'm not sure. I thought about that today. What's
reading the Megillah? Well, let's say you wanted to read the Megillah, not from a klaf, it's not from a chumash. So something wrong with that?
You have a special picture.
Oh, we can't, Rebbe Bennett. We can't hear. It's very low.
1 second.
I don't know, Mike, so you should just read it from a chumash, right? So the shaila is, why didn't they make a gzeira not to read it from a chumash too?
By karbonis,
what was the gzeira with the klaf?
Yeah, it's Shema Yabirenu. It's Shema Yabirenu. So maybe you're gonna end up carrying the chumash.
Is this talking about on
maybe you're gonna bring the chumash to the.
It's talking about either place.
So how you allowed to lay it on Shabbos? You may carry the Torah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a good question.
Maybe you bring
said that last night. Didn't we say that last night?
You bring your chumash to the safer.
Very good. I don't know. Yeah, what were you saying about the karbanos, Rebbeinu? Because it's sukkah.
It's the carbon. You have a pasuk that says in Shalman Purim Sifasenu that's as if you're being makriv the carbon.
Right. Okay, but okay, so maybe just talking about it also. I don't know. Okay, let's see.
In Yerushalayim, when it's Purim Sholos, you say Al Nisim only on Shabbos. So maybe that should count.
You mean that should count as Megillah reading? Interesting.
Yeah, that should count. That's what they do.
I hear that. Right, Tucker. I hear that.
I don't know if it's true. Rav Aaron probably knows about it. Someone told me, I could be wrong, but maybe it wasn't Rav Shlomo Feifel, is that if a drunk doesn't have liquor, at least he'll talk about drinking.
Yeah, I know. It's funny, Mike. I actually thought about that today. I thought about that today. I forgot.
Was it true? Was he the one that said it?
That's
He didn't say it the way you said it. He said a shikah. He didn't say a drunk.
So
you think it's so good?
What's the difference?
What?
Peretz wants you to tell everybody what the difference
Parents,
is between a
one
shikar
day
and a
will be
drunk.
zeicha to know the difference.
That's for Yaakov. It's a good vart, no?
It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah.
No, my point is, why talk about it? You could read the Megillah from a Chumash. Well,
No, so that's a different shaila. Why we're not going to make the gzeira on the chumash. Okay, yeah. So we'll see when we get to Amud Beis. The Gemara is going to discuss it on the bottom. Anyways, my area Purim. So then back in the Gemara. So my area Purim is going to ask Afilu Yom Tov Nami. What are you saying? What are you saying? Purim, you're supposed to discuss the halachas. Even Yom Tov also. The Tanya. Moshe tiken them the Yisrael. Shu shayim b'darshim b'nyon shayim hilchos pesach b'pesach hilchos atzeres b'atzeres hilchos chag b'chag.
Yes, it's not a chiddush. She's doing what he's supposed to do.
Correct. It's exactly the kasha. You're supposed to learn the halachas on the Yom Tov. This, by the way, is not shloshim yom. When I first learned it, I thought this is like shloshim yom. You're supposed to learn. That's not this. This is that on every Yom Tov you're supposed to learn.
Like what Michael's saying, where's the minute come for Shabbos Haggadah from reading the Haggadah?
So that is discussed because of what went on in that's when they separated the lambs in Mitzrayim. So they want you to start with the Haggadah from there. There's a few reasons that are discussed. Either way, so the Gemara is asking. So every Yom Tov you have this mitzvah. So my answer is
Megillah. Megillah is the Rabbanim, right?
Megillah is the Rabbanim. Sure, it's a Divrei Kabbalah. Yeah.
So Shoif is a deraisa.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you saying?
So you two separate things. How are you going to say that?
Yeah, it is going to be more chum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is more chum.
You don't do. Yeah. So if you don't do Shoif, why should you do Megillah?
Yeah. No, so you have a different kasha also. The Tosfos asks this, the one-line Tosfos. He asks, how come you don't have to talk about? How come it doesn't say you have to talk about Hilchos Purim on Purim every Purim? Why just when it falls on Shabbos? Right. So Tosfos says because you spell Pesumei Nisa. So on Shabbos you're not getting the mitzvah Pesumei Nisa by reading the Megillah. So therefore you have to talk about it on a regular.
That's why we don't have Hanukkah. That's why they didn't even discuss Hanukkah.
Right, because you always have
the hadlaka.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so let's see weiter. So Purim it's trichale. No, you needed to say on Purim. What Ma'al the same in Nigzor Mishum de Rabba. You might make a gezerah because of Rabba, right? So maybe if you're going to learn about Megillah, so then you might end up carrying the Megillah on Purim. So, yeah, meaning even if you're not reading the Megillah, but maybe if you're darshaning about it, you might take it out. You might take out the Megillah and you want to look something up and you want to discuss it. So, Kamash Malon, we're not choshed for that. We're only choshed for Rabbah, who says that you might carry the Megillah, which is a Rabbah, if you're going to read the Megillah. If you're going to talk and learning, it doesn't apply.
Is this why Rashi put in before by Shailin V'Darshan, Rashi put in the word Igeres? Is that why Rashi puts it in? Because of this line. He has a Megillah in front of him. He's darshaning the Megillah.
Maybe.
Maybe it's Muktzah on Shabbos. Why? Maybe it's Muktzah.
Right, so the L'chaira, it is Muktzah on Shabbos. Right? So that's, now you're saying maybe it won't be Muktzah because you get darshan from it. So you get darshan from it. But Lamaisa, we say that the Megillah is Muktzah, but if you need it to practice, then you're allowed to. That's what the post can say. Okay, fine. Yeah, so then fine. Another member from Rebbi and R Levi. Chayav Adam, Likros is a Megillah b'layla, a person's chayav to read the Megillah at night and to do it a second time during the day. Shenemer Elokei Ekra Yomam v'loy sana. We called out to Hashem at night in the nina. It's a b'layla, and also at night v'loy demiyali. And there's no break for me. So they thought that what he meant was read the Megillah at night, and then learn the mishnayos during the day. It was explained to me what he meant. He's going to Amri Inchi ever Parshas the Dov Asnai. What he meant is read the Parsha once and then read it a second time. I don't know if that's alluding to Maver Sedra or not, that you're supposed to do it twice, right? But he's saying read it once and then read it again. So it's not pshat that you should read the Megillah at night and then learn the halachas, learn the mishnayos during the day. The pshat is that you're supposed to read it at night and read it again during the day. Fine. Itmanami Amr Chalbi Amr Ula Hira Chayav on the Lukas is Megillah Belayla v'Shnois v'Yayim. A person's chayav to read it at night and then say it again during the day. Shenemer Leman Yizamecha Chaved Beloy Yidayim Hashem Elikai Le'elam Aydecha. That's a song, Peretz. That is a song, right? That the Leman Yizamecha Chaved Beloy Yidayim Hashem Elikai Le'elam Aydecha. Right. So that. Yeah. What are you saying?
Here it seems that the Ikar reading is at night.
Oh, so that's what very good. So from this Gemara, it sounds like the Ikar is at night.
Why would you make the Shechianu by day again?
So the Maisa in the Megillah
because it has a double lotion, no?
In the Megillah itself, it says to read it during the day. Right? What's the pasuk? I don't remember the pasuk.
You may have Purim or something.
I think it says B'yayim. Yeah. So okay. So now. So the Maisa, we hold that the day is the Ikar and the night is the Tafel. From this Gemara, though, it's a little shver. So the Rabbaran's Kasha, how do you make Shechianu twice? The Maisa, our meaning is that we make Shechianu at night and we make Shechianu during the day. That's the bottom Toisus. Right? This says, the Re says, Avagan, the Baruch's man Belayla, you make Shechianu at night. The Ikar Pesumei Nisa have a Bekriya the Yamama. The Ikar reading is during the day. The Kronami Mashma came to Siva Laila Veloy Demieli, Clemmer Afal Gav Shekara B'Yoim, Chayav Likas Belayla. So they're being Medayik in the Gemara different than us. Right? Rebbi and R Das Torah is right there. So we got it totally wrong.
Can you say the day starts at night?
Okay, but that's what okay. So then but the Taisus Ikar have the Yamama. Kivin Shezkiru Akasav Tchila, Bagam Ikar Suda the Yamama. The Ikar Suda Purim is during the day. So then Taisus okay, so that the Ikar mitzvah of Purim is during the day, and okay, so it's an interesting thing that Purim they made the Ikar mitzvah during the day, Chanukah they made the Ikar mitzvah at night, Lulav the Ikar mitzvah is during the day, Pesach the Ikar mitzvah is at night. In case anybody thought they can understand all the Yom Tovim, they made it good and complicated. So we could.
Is the Shechianu covering just the Suda, or it's covering all the mitzvahs?
No, it's covering the Megillah. No, with the Shechianu.
Just Megillah is not covering the Shalach Manos.
It's Be'ikr the Megillah, and then we say because it's a shaila whether to make the Shechianu on the mitzvahs, we say to have it in mind. But the Ikr Shechianu is going on the Megillah, right? Not on the.
Ikar Dalaminim is during the day. The Ikar Sukkah is at night, no?
Correct. That makes it even more confusing. Right. That's it. I once heard a Torah. I looked for it. I once heard it, I think, on YU.
Right, that's only the first night, the Ikar mitzvah is by night in the Sukkah, Yehoshua, no?
No.
Well, otherwise it's any time you're eating.
Yeah, but
that's because it's Tesvav to Pesach. But then Lulav is night and day. I once heard a whole Torah about it, how they designed the mitzvahs, the Rabbanons, after the mitzvahs, the Raisas. There's a gra about it, but that it doesn't answer this. Okay, so let's see weiter. So
we have this?
What?
Like, is there anywhere else in Halacha we have this idea that Taisus is saying?
Nope, we don't. Nope.
I thought it was asking the wrong. I should ask you
about what? You shut that door.
So it's the saying that we make the Shechianu on the same mitzvah for the same reason, Persumei Nisa. But since we're adding to the Persumei Nisa by day, so make Shechianu again.
Now, okay, I don't. You're right. It doesn't really. You're saying it doesn't really answer the question. Is that what you're saying?
The way he's answering it is that we're adding Persumei Nisa. So you're making a Shechianu on the extra.
Yeah. I hear.
I hear. Yeah.
I don't know. Very good. Okay, so it
would be good cash if you buy a suit with 2 pairs of pants. You make another Shechianu.
Yeah.
Good point. Maybe, yeah.
I never heard of anybody doing that, Taka. Why don't they?
Yeah,
why
according to this Taisus, you should lechayre.
Yeah, but we never heard of anybody doing that.
Or at least if one of the if one of the pants
so take a pomegranate. You can't do pomegranates anymore.
Who makes Shechianos on anything nowadays?
Okay, but you take something that maybe it is the minute to do it. I don't know. Okay, we got getting antsy over here, so let's go back to. But anyway, so we said that the reason why the cities, the villages, I think we call it, right? Villages can come into the cities, the unwalled cities, on Mondays and Thursdays and lay the Megillah early. So it's not clear who is this for. Is it for the small villages or the towns, or is it for the cities? Right? Which one is it? So Amar Rav Chanina, on the villages to go early to the Yom HaKnisa, so that they should have enough water and food to their brothers that are in the cities. So it sounds like, who is this for? It's the reason why they wanted them to come in early was for the towns, right? So that everybody would be available to celebrate Purim. Then there's a Pasha de Kasha. If it's to help the people in the cities, so then what happens if Purim falls out on the actual Purim falls out on a Monday? So Chaliyas B'Sheni, Kvarim Vayoras Gedalas, Karim B'Bayam, both the small towns and the big cities read that day. Why don't we make the villages go early? Because how are the people going to be able to properly celebrate Purim if everybody's celebrating on the same day? Right? Yeah, I forgot to say. So, meaning, if the villages, the reason why we don't want it to come in is so that there should be enough for everybody. So then how come when it's on a Monday, which is the day of gathering, we don't make the villages come in the Thursday before, right? So that everything will be available. For the villages, it'll be Thursday, and then for the cities, it'll be Monday. So it can't be that. So one answer is, you can't go back to Thursday because then that's on Yud Adar. Yud Adar, like we learned on Daf Beis, Yud Adar is too early. You can't go to Yud Adar. So that's not a possibility. Okay, so what about if it falls out on Thursday? So Tashima, Chaliyas b'Chamishi, it falls out on Chamishi, Kfarim Vayoras Gedalas, Karim B'Bayayim. So the villages and the cities read that day. Let them go back to Monday. Let them go from Thursday to Monday. It's only 3 days. That's Yud Aleph. And then that's what they should do. So my answer is, no, you're not going to push them to go from a Thursday to a Monday. That's a day of gathering to a day of gathering. There's no point. So Tashema, Amr Yehuda, the next Mishnah is going to say that we only allow people this kula to lay in the Megillah before Purim if it's a type of village or town that travels in on Mondays and Thursdays. But in a place that they don't go in on Sheni V'Chamishi, you're only allowed to read it at the proper time. You can't have this heter to go early. And if you're going to say that it's a takana of krachin, why shouldn't they be able to read earlier? It's going to help out the cities. Meaning, if you hold that the villages are allowed to read the Megillah earlier because it helps out the cities, so now what's the difference if the minig of the village is to come in on Mondays and Thursdays? Let them come in before Purim because that will help out the cities, right? Elamai, can't be that's to help out the cities. So loitemos, and more answers loitem, not that they should make available enough food and water. It's because they whole year round they provide water and food to their brothers in the cities. So therefore, it's like a prize. The way Rashi is mashma, right? Schar hu lahem. Rashi in the second line down from the top says it's schar. It's very interesting. Schar hu lahem b'shvil shehin mesapkim. They get a reward. Since these villages are constantly supporting the cities by coming in, so they get a reward. They get a reward for providing them, and therefore they can read the Megillah 3 days early. It's quite an interesting reward, but that's the reward. So then, if the villages have a minig not to come in on Mondays and Thursdays, they don't deserve the reward. That's the way Rashi is learning. They don't deserve the reward. Therefore, they have to schlep in on Purim to get somebody to read the Megillah. It's a prize. That's what it is. Yeah. So it's very interesting. I thought it's very interesting. Fine. Okay, right? So Mishnah, now the Gemara is just asking the technical reason on the Mishnah. The Mishnah seems to be doing things in two different ways. Mishnah Reisha, the Sidura the Yarcha, in the beginning, it talks in the order of the month, right? It says Yud Aleph, Megillah Nikris Yud Aleph Yud Beis Yud Gimel Yud Dalet Tezvav. Mishna Seifa the Nokat Sidura the Yom, but in the Seifa it goes through when if Yud Dalet falls out on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it goes in the order of the week, not in the order of the days. So how come the Mishnah switched it up? When it answers, since if they switched it up, it would start, the days would get all mixed up. If you went with the days of the month, then you're going to have to start going backwards. You have to say, okay, so now we move it from, we move the Megillah early to Sunday, then to Shabbos, then to Friday, then to Thursday. So Megilah, it would be all confusing. So that to keep it orderly, first the Mishnah talks about the days of the month, and then it does it in the days of the week. Fine. Now the next Gemara is quite interesting. So there's two things. If you have, it falls out on, Purim falls out on a Friday. If Yud Dalet falls out on a Friday, so now normally the Megillah in the walled cities would have to be read on Tesvav, but you can't do it because it's Shabbos. So the question, then that's if Yud Dalet falls out on Friday. And if Yud Dalet falls out on Shabbos, so then Yud Dalet can't read on Shabbos, but Tesvav can. So the Machlokes that we're going to have now is once you're moving the day, should you just move it back to Thursday, or do you move it to the closest one possible? Right? So it's going to be a Machlokes. Both of them are going to be a Machlokes. So the Gemara says, Chali Asber of Shabbos. Yeah. So Masnisin, money. Who's our Mishnah? Rebbi, Rebbi Yosi. It could be either it could be Rebbi or it could be Rebbi Yosi. My Rebbi, what does it mean, Rebbi? Titania, Chali Asber of Shabbos. If Yud Dalet falls out on a Friday, so Kfarim Vayoras Gedolos, Makdim Liyam Knisa, we take the walled cities and the big cities, go back to, cities and villages, the towns, the small towns and the unwalled cities, go back to Thursday. And the walled city reads that day, right? So you hear what this Tanakh is saying? That if Yud Dalet falls on of Shabbos, you even move a regular city, like all our cities, according to this Shita. When Purim would fall out on a Friday, we would move it back to Thursday. For what reason? Yud Dalet is the day it should be read. So we'll see in the Gemara, but that's what the Tanakh says. Rebbi, don't move the regular cities. Why should they move? Both of them should read that day, right? Meaning the walled cities and the unwalled cities should both read on Friday. Okay, my time with Tanakama. Why does the Tanakama say that they should move back to Thursday? Like every year. Just like every year. The regular cities read a day before the walled cities. So to here, the cities go before the walled cities. Right? Meaning if you're going to, again, they can't read it, the walled cities can't read it because it's Shabbos. So this Tanakh is saying we can't have unwalled cities and walled cities read on the same day. It has to be like every other year, where the first day is unwalled, second day is walled. Right? So in order to do that, you have to move the unwalled cities back a day. So that's the Tanakh Shita. So I'm going to ask, why don't we say like this? Every year, why don't we say that every year we never move a regular city from its place? So to here, don't move the regular city. So our answer, no, it's not possible. Here you can't not move it because then it's going to fall out on the same day as the walled city. So therefore you have to move it. Meaning on a regular year, when you have no reason to move the regular city, so you have to read it on Yud Dalet. But this year, when it falls out on a Friday, so Tesvav is on a Shabbos, so then you have to, meaning he's basically saying it's more of a priority to move Yud Dalet, even though you don't normally move Yud Dalet, to move Yud Dalet and then go to, and then so it should be before Tesvav. That's what he's saying.
How is he darshaning these from the pasuk? According to Rabbi, the whole reason why you move it back is so you don't read it on. The whole reason why you don't read it on Shabbos is Xera, because you don't want to carry outside. What does that have to do with the psukim? They weren't geyser then, were they?
Well, no, with that we're learning how to darshan out the psukim from then.
But the psukim, it was before the Xera, no?
It was before.
When were they geyser? They're geyser right away.
You mean Rabba's Xera?
Yeah. Why are we not reading on Shabbos?
Yeah, and a Chanami.
So there were guys afterwards. What does that have to do with the
right?
psukim?
So then they're darshaning the psukim of
They're
how
darshaning the psukim built into Rabbi's zera.
Based on Rabbah, you have to darshan the pasuk in a different way. That's what you have to say.
I hear it. It doesn't fit with Rabbi Shita.
Why doesn't it fit with Rabbi Shita?
The psukim are based in Rabbi Shita. I'm saying
no.
What is
but Rabbah, whoever's darshaning from Rabbah, you have to darshan the psukim.
Rabbah didn't make up this gezerah. Rabbah just gave the reason why.
Was it originally done that way from the day one that they started reading?
Day one, it was never read on Shabbos. It was never read on Shabbos. That's the Mishnah. Rabbah just gave a reason why.
Well, we call it Gezerah the Rabbah.
Because he's
the other two mitzvahs, the Raisa, they stopped them way before Megillah was even existed.
Right.
So Megillah was automatically included when they invented Megillah.
Rabbah's just the one that gave the reason. That's why it's named after him.
Yeah, but it's hard to say that they originally fit in the drushas into these psukim.
I mean,
right?
Kol Shana V'Shana every year has to be the same.
Right. I hear you. Okay, maybe that's a teretz. Fine, very good. So let's see. The Rebbe, my timer. What does Rebbe say? But Kol Shana V'Shana. So you darshan it every year. Ma Kol Shana V'Shana Eina Yoros Nidchem Mimekaimon. Just like every year, cities are not nidche from the place. Afkan lo yitva Yoros Mimekaimon. So too here, the cities they're not pushed away from their place, right? And you always keep in those cities. So why don't we say B'chol Shana V'Shana? Ma Kol Shana V'Shana Yoros Kaidmon L'Mukafim, right? Like the other shita. Why don't you say that every year the regular cities go before the walled cities? Afkan Nami Yoros Kaidmon L'Mukafim. So too here, the regular cities go before the walled cities. So Shana Yochad Lo Yefsher. It's not possible, right? Because you don't have a choice. Meaning, so basically, each one is darshaning out the same pasuk, Shana V'Shana, and each one can only darshan it for the way they want, and they say it's not possible to go the other way. Okay, so that's Shita's Rebbe. Whatever it is, our Mishnah could be like Rebbe, because our Mishnah says that they read it that day. Walled cities and regular cities read it on a Friday. My Rebbi Yosi, what's Rebbi Yosi? The Tanya Cholias Be'er Shabbos. So we have a brisa that says if it fell out on Friday, Mukafin Ukvarim Magdim Eliyam HaKnisa. Both the walled cities and the towns go to the Yom HaKnisa. Vayoras Gedolos Karim Bay Bayom. You hear this shita? This would be a scenario where the walled cities actually read the Megillah the day before a regular city. Right? He's saying this Tanakama shita. Well, we'll see in a minute. Is saying that once you're moving the walled cities, moving back all the way to Thursday, which comes out that the walled cities will read a day before. The day before the regular city. Mukafin don't come before the Yayaris, and both of them read on that day, which is our Mishnah. Okay, now the Gemara goes through. My time of the Tanakama. So what's the reason of the Tanakama? Yosiv Shana V'Shana, my Kol Shana V'Shana Yayaris Ba'arba Asa Rizmane Shazeh Lo Izmane Shazeh, just like in a regular year. Regular cities read on the 14th. And this one's man is not this one's man. So Afkan Yayaris Ba'arba Asa Rizmane Shazeh Lo Izmane Shazeh. So too here, the cities read it on the 14th, and it can't be that they have the same zman. The walled cities and the regular cities cannot have the same zman. So what are you stuck doing? You're stuck moving the walled cities to Thursday. So even though it comes out that the walled cities will be reading the day before the regular cities, doesn't make a difference. The pasuk says that you can't have regular cities and walled cities reading on the same day. That's a Tanakama. So it says, why don't we say every year, just like every year, the walled cities don't read before the regular cities. So too here, you're not allowed to, you can't make a walled city read on Thursday and a regular city read on Friday. You want to answer, no, normally you can't do that. But here you don't have a choice. Meaning the priority is that they don't read on the same day. So it happens to be that the walled cities go a day before, that so be it. We don't have a choice. The main thing is they can't read on the same day. Now, Rabbi Yosi is going to say the opposite. My time with Rabbi Yosi, B'chol Shana V'Shana. It says in the pasuk every year, just like every year. The walled cities don't come before the regular cities. So to here, walled cities don't come before regular cities. So Gemara asks, why don't you say every year? Why don't we just say that the priority is that they shouldn't read on the same day? So too here we should say that you should not read, the walled cities and the unwalled cities should not read at the same time. No, it's not possible. This year, you have to have it. When it falls on a Friday, you have to have them both on the same day. So it's just a matter of which one, which priority you have. And then the other option would be lo yavsha. So Gemara says, Rebbi Ayaris lo yachin Yom HaKnisa. Does Rebbi really hold that we don't push the cities back to Yom HaKnisa? V'tanya chali is b'Shabbos. Now we're talking about if Yudalit falls on Shabbos. So Kfarim makdim Yom HaKnisa. The Kfarim, the towns, obviously go back to Yom HaKnisa. V'Ayaris Gedoylo is Kairim be'erev Shabbos. They move a day earlier. U'makavas chayma l'machar. And makavas chayma have no problem because their regular day is Sunday. Again, when Yudalit falls on Shabbos. So the Tanakama here is saying move the villages down back to Thursday, and the regular cities move them back to Friday, and the walled cities go on Sunday like they're supposed to. Rebbi Aimer Ani Hayol v'nitchu Ayaris mimekayman. Once you're moving the cities from Shabbos, Yitchul Yom HaKnisa, push them back to the Gad. Don't push them to Friday. Once you're pushing the Yudalit from Shabbos, push them back to the Thursday, so you could read the same day as the villages. Whatever it is, you see that Rebbe holds that you can move Ayaris cities back to Yom HaKnisa to Thursday. So when it answers Hochiyash to Hasam Zmanam Shabbasi. No, the Zman is Shabbos. Since it's pushed off, right? So when it falls on Shabbos, Rebbe says no problem to push it back to Thursday because you're not reading it on the proper day anyways. But here, the Zman is Erev Shabbos. So since the Zman is Erev Shabbos, so leave it on Erev Shabbos. Don't move it back to, then you don't move it back to Thursday. Okay, so fine. So Gemara says, come on, Rebbe Chalbei, Amar Rav Huna, Purim shechali is b'Shabbos. When Purim falls on Shabbos, hakol nidchim liyam haknisa. You move everything. If when Purim falls on Shabbos, you move everything. Yudalit, Tezvav, and the villages, everybody moves to Thursday. Hakol nidchim sal gedaydos. It says everybody goes back for ikum mukavan to avdi l'macha. Why should a walled city, when Yudalit falls on Shabbos, why should a walled city go back to Thursday? Let it do it in its regular time on Sunday. Ela kol nidcha yitchil yom haknisa. What it means is anybody who's being pushed should be pushed to the Yom HaKnisa, to Thursday. Obviously not the walled cities. The walled cities go to Sunday. So come on, who's that like? Rebbi. That's like Rebbi, who says that you should push everything back to Thursday. So the Gemara says the Kuli Amamiyah Megilah b'Shabbos like Karina. Oh, so now that we did this whole sugya about not reading Megillah on Shabbos, and now the Gemara decides to ask why you're not allowed to read the Megillah on Shabbos, right? So lost the place. The Kuli Amamiyah. Yeah, Megilah b'Shabbos like Karina. We don't read the Megillah on Shabbos. My timer. What's the reason? So Amarabba Hakol Chayav Mekriyas Megillah u'B'Tkiyah Shofar Ve'en Hakol B'Kiyin B'Mikra Megillah. Right. So everybody's Chayav Mekriyas Megillah, but not everybody's a baki how to read the Megillah. You might take it in your hand. The Yelech Etzel Baki. You're going to take it to a baki Lilmai to learn how to read the Megillah. You have Eren Abraham as B'Shus HaRabin. And you're going to carry Abraham as B'Shus HaRabin behind the time of the Shofar, behind the time of the Lulav, and that's the same reason for Shofar and the same reason for Lulav. Right? Now, Tosis, we had this Tosis a few times already, but Tosis says, what do you mean Shemin Yavirena? What about carrying it from B'Shus HaYach to B'Shus HaRabin? Right? We're worried about carrying it Dalet Amos. That means the Megillah was in the B'Shus HaRabin before Shabbos started, and you might carry it Dalet Amos. Well, isn't it a chashash that you might take it from your house into the street? Right? So Tosis says that's not a chashash, because when you leave your house, you're going to be reminded, 1 second, I can't carry. Right? That's Tosis' basic teretz. Okay, so then the Gemara says, Rabbi Yosef has a different reason. Right? Rabbi Yosef says, the Aniyim are looking forward to Mikra Megillah to collect money. Since they're looking forward
the only chiddush to that is Mila, we say.
What? Mila, we're not chayshim.
Because you have to be an expert. You have the guy doing it. They're supposed to be
correct. So Mina, right. So that's a good point, right? So as an expert, Mila is done by an expert, not the common folk. So we're not worried about Shema Yavirana. Right? But Rabbi Yosef says a different reason. He says that the Aniyim go collecting by the Megillah. Since the Aniyim go collecting by Megillah, if you're going to let the Megillah be read on Shabbos, so then you're gonna these aniyim are gonna lose a lot of money. So therefore, we don't let them read it on Shabbos, which is quite an interesting. That's quite an interesting din, because why don't we just make a collection for the aniyim before Purim and give it to them? Right? When we battle the whole Megillah on Purim just for the aniyim, right? And also, this reason does not work for shofar and lulav, right? Yeah. So Taisa said, right? This reason doesn't work. Meaning, Rabbi Yosef seems to be saying the reason why we don't do these things on Shabbos because aniyim, but the reason he gives only works for Purim. Doesn't work for lulav. You don't go to lulav because he might. There's no collecting of tzedakah. Right?
Maybe it has
or
a different
shofar.
reason because they're the rices, maybe.
Oh, so okay. So Taisa says it's interesting. The Taisa says the bottom Taisa says he's not chaylik on the reason, right? Because otherwise it doesn't work for shofar and lulav. He's just saying an additional reason for Purim, right? And then he says ain't shvus b'mikdash. The nafkamina would be maybe in the base of mikdash, right? Okay, fine. So then let's see. Even though we said that the kvarim go back to Thursday, right? But goyim by bayayim, you still do the tzedakah on the regular day, and you give it out on that day, right? Meaning on Thursday you still make sure to collect the tzedakah. On Thursday, on Monday or Thursday, you make sure to collect the tzedakah. And then what do you mean? It's not even though we say, right? You say because we say that they go to Thursday collect the tzedakah, not even though. Since we said, not Avapi, we're saying since we said that Kvarim go to Yom HaKnisa, so you gather that day, they're all looking to Mikra Megillah. Then the Gemara says, let's just try to go to the Mishnah. Aval Simcha, onto Hayam Aleph now. Aval Simcha, Ein and Heges, Ela Bizmana. But Simcha, meaning the Suda and all that, that always happens on the regular time, right? That they don't do on the Yom HaKnisa, right? Which is now, this the Yitzi Santek. So this is where it gets into the whole thing. Because even on Shabbos, the Rishonim say even on Shabbos, you still do the Ikr Suda is supposed to be on Shabbos, which we don't do with Purim B'Shulish. We don't do the Suda on Shabbos. Now, Purim B'Shulish goes on Sunday. So it's a Machlokes, Bavli and Yerushalmi. It's a whole tumult. Okay, so Omar Rav, Megilah B'Zmana, when you read Megillah in its proper time, Karanas Afila B'Yachid. If you read a Megillah in the proper time, you read it even B'Yachid. Shaloi B'Zmana, meaning an individual can read it at home alone. Again, it's Persumei Nisa is the main thing. So the Chiddush is that if it's in the proper time, he can read it himself. Shaloi B'Zmana
Stand in his window.
Right, but if you're doing it Shaloi B'Zmana, then you need 10, right? Because you need Pirsumanes. See, on Purim itself, it's one. There'll be automatic Pirsumanes because everybody's doing it, I guess, right? Ravasi says you always need to be 10, right? Which makes it sound like he holds that a person taka missed all the minyanim. Let's say Atzala guy, he missed all the minyanim, right? Here you go, Lando. We shout out to you. So let's say he misses all the Megillah, so now he can't read the Megillah himself. So Ravasi is not saying that. Meaning Rashi says it's a mitzvah to look for 10, but it doesn't mean that he's saying that you can't read it by yourself. He's just saying it's a mitzvah. So there was a story, and Rav was choshed for Ravasi, and he went to look for 10 people.
It's more of a mitzvah than Rav Am. That's Sarah?
Of course.
What
do you mean? That is Rav Am.
There's always right. I'm saying there's always a mitzvah to go to the biggest minion.
What?
On Purim.
Correct. But this is whether you should do it yourself. Right?
Right, I'm saying it's at two levels, a Sarah and then B'Roiv Am, or it's the same level?
No, it's no. B'Roiv Am is more than 10. 10 is minimum. 10 is minimum.
No, that's what he's saying, minimum here?
Yeah. I mean, he's not. Rashi says not ma'akid. You should try and have 10. Right? So, but it's fascinating. If we read, sometimes you read the Gemara quickly. You don't chap the mandamim. So Rav is the one that says you're allowed to read a piyachid. Rav Asi says you have to have a minyan, or you should at least try. And then Rav, even though he was disagreeing with Rav Asi, paskin like Rav Asi, meaning he went to look for 10. We just said Rav holds you don't need 10. But there was a story with Rav, and Rav went to gather 10. So that sounds like you should pass like Ravasi, right? Because Rav himself went to do like Ravasi, and Taisa said, no. Taisa says, no, we pass like Rav. Okay, go figure. Okay, it's a little late now. So, but again, Rav disagrees with Ravasi. He himself did like Ravasi, but we pass like Rav, at least according to Taisa. Okay, so then what it says, did Rav really say this? Purim falls on Shabbos, Erev Shabbos Manam. The time to read is on Erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos Manam, or Shabbos Manam. What do you mean Erev Shabbos is the time? Shabbos is the time. This is what he meant to say. Not in the proper time is like the proper time. Maz Manam afilu b'yochid, just like the regular time is even b'yochid. It's afshalei b'zmanam afilu b'yochid. Even if it's not in the right time, you can even do it with a yochid. Whatever it is, you see, that Rav says that you should try. How does it go? Right, the Rav says when it's not in the proper time, you need a minyan of 10. And here it's saying that if it's not in the proper time, you don't need a minyan of 10.
But it's not.
So, Lloyd, what are you saying?
If it's not the proper time, then the minyan of 10, the other 9 fellows are not chayiv. He's going to China, so he has to lane on Dalid. The other 9 guys are just doing him a toiva. They're not.
I don't know. Is that the case? So maybe he has to go look for 10 people that need it.
Oh,
no?
Maybe. Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought maybe he's going to go try and find 10 guys going to China.
Okay.
Those guys in the airport. They're already before the flight even takes off. They're already arranging minchas and ma'arives and shachatzes and tefillas and derechs and went to say thank you Hashem and whatever, all that stuff, right? So we have to have a little Purim here, yeah. So, anyways, so the Gemara answers, Megilah v'asara. What he means is that you should do Mikra Megilah v'asara, right? So then, Elamai Erev Shabbos Manam. So then, what does it mean? Shabbos is the proper time. Lafuke made the Rebbe. Gamar Hoyel v'nitchu ayoros mimekayman. It's coming to exclude Rebbe who holds it since you pushed off the city's mimekayman. Yitchu liyom haknisa. Push up the yom haknisa. Hakamash Milan the Erev Shabbos Manam. So it's teaching us that the Erev Shabbos is the proper time, not like Rebbe who held that when it falls out on Shabbos, move it back to Thursday, not to Friday. Okay, we went a little fast at the end there, but I'm sorry. But okay, all right. Tomorrow, 3:40. Yeah, 3:40 tomorrow. Yeah?
3:40. 3:40. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody tuning in early.
Yaakov.
Yes.
You got a bunch of requests from our Makomis.
Yeah, I posted it on the status.
Oh, what time? Okay.
So it's so you can send them back. Check. I don't know.
But
Okay. I'll check it.
If you look at the last Rashi, he actually says the takana of not reading it on Shabbos was after the Anshe Knesset Gedolah.
He says that? Which
so
Rashi?
Imam says it not like what we just said, or what Gershon just said.
Not like what Gershon said.
Yes. If you look at Rashi at the end, he says Hoyel b'tiknuhem chachma yishal she'achar Knesset Gedolah lahaktim mishum derabo.
I hear.
So Rashi's not mashma like that.
Which Rashi you in?
The Rashi right before the Mishnah. The Takana was after the Knesset Gedolah.
Okay, it started dancing, so I got to roll. Okay, good enough, everybody.
All right.
Sorry.
Good enough, Shikaya.
Okay.
Shikaya Kiva.